In a world where men make songs about ponies comes the Brony Musician Directory interview with Stars in Autumn.
This is the Brony Musician Directory. We want to try to do some interviews kind of on a monthly basis. This is kind of the loose pattern. Tonight we've got the Stars in Autumn as our special guest tonight. Also goes by Jeff the Strider. When did you switch your name? A couple months ago, or it's been longer than that?
Actually, I thought that name up before I even started my music career.
Okay.
But my YouTube's just, I didn't start a YouTube with that name.
Mm-hmm.
I just had my old gamer tag.
Okay.
So I've had that name for a while, although I was kind of signing it off as Jeff the Strider as well for a while. So yeah, it hasn't been probably since the beginning of the year since I've been tagging on my songs with Stars.
Okay. And were people calling you sort of either other from the start, or?
Yeah, it was pretty much Jeff the Strider from the start. Still, quite often it's Jeff the Strider. There's still a lot of people who seem to be confused. Like, I thought Jeff the Strider made the song. No, it's like Stars in Autumn is, and then so there's still some confusion there.
So how you doing?
I'm working on my late entry for the remix course.
Oh, you're with the rest of the mod team getting their entries in a little bit late, or?
Except for Ben. Didn't do any remix. He's
okay.
way with like everything else. But Lavender is still working on her remix, which is I heard it a little while ago. It's sounding pretty good. I basically restarted my remix Monday because it wasn't going anywhere. It seemed like, and now I'm already like done and working on the mix.
Yeah, I was completely surprised to see that we had a Remix Wars 6 immediately after number 5. I guess I wasn't expecting to see it back to back, so.
I didn't even know he was working on that, so yeah. I don't know how that's going to work exactly, because that's, that'd be quite a demand on PMV artists and so forth.
Yeah, I mean, it's a cool concept, and I mean, that is something new that we really haven't seen PMV artists work with musicians yet, so I mean, it's a cool idea, so. So you finished your Remix 4-5, and that's when
I'm still working on it.
Just
I got the mix. The composition is done. I'm working on the mix though, because there's a lot of. I basically got one mix done yesterday and listened to it a lot today, and it's like, yeah, I could do better than that. So
okay.
Yeah.
How long do you generally take when you're doing a final mix? Getting all the EQing right and such. How long does that take you? A week, or does that take you shorter or longer?
Well, early I used to only spend a couple of days. Now I spend probably several. I mean, 3 to a week, I would say.
Okay.
Well, typically, yeah. I mean, your ears kind of get tired of listening to, or not tired, but like in your brain, you kind of turn off stuff you're hearing. So if you stop listening to it for a while, just give it a day or something and come back to it. Suddenly you start hearing things you didn't hear before. So
yeah, absolutely. Do you try to listen to tracks on different equipment like car stereo and stuff, or different headphones? Yeah. Okay.
I have my studio headphones, my studio monitors, my car speakers, which is like mono almost, and then gaming headphones. I basically listen to them on.
Taking a look at some of your tracks, looking at your YouTube today, looking at some of all the different music you've made, and so your first track was a Remix War 1 entry, Not a Clever Pony, for the New Lunar Republic, correct? Is that the first one, or is that just the first one that's on YouTube?
That's the first pony song I've ever made. I made one more before that, but it was just a generic house song. Okay,
and then so that was in June 2011. How did you get started making music in the community? Was that, I know we've talked kind of outside, because most people don't realize Jeff and I actually live more or less in the same city. You're on the far north, I'm far south. We've met once, talked a bit. We wanted to do a Skype interview together, be able to feature you. So when you started, how did you discover the show?
So I would say it would be pretty typical of most people. It's one of those things you keep thing pop up everywhere you look. And you blow it off for a while until curiosity gets a better view, and you start watching, a few episodes, and you get hooked. So that was pretty standard for me as well. I really liked the show, and I started listening to some of the music within the community as well, and I kind of began to realize that people like me were making this music, and I kind of realized I could do that too. So that's what also started me downloading my first digital audio workstation and kicking it off from there.
And which DAW do you use?
I use Fruity Loops.
Okay.
10.
Cool.
I'm planning on learning Cubase. I'm going to switch to Cubase for my orchestral music, and then Fruity Loops for my electronic, most likely. So
Cubase, you find it works better for doing orchestral? What does that give you?
It seems to work better with Fruity Loops and working with individual MIDI tracks.
Okay.
Instead of Fruity Loops. Fruity Loops, typically, on contact, you have to actually switch your MIDI channel in your piano roll.
Okay.
So it's a little bit more, it's a little harder to work with, I think, than what McCon showed me with Cubase. He works with Cubase, and he showed me, and it looks to be a more intuitive workflow for orchestral. When
you started making music, that was your very first music you'd made from the beginning, or had you made a couple electronic tracks before then, or?
No, I didn't start making any electronic music until like April of 2011. Yeah, just because it never occurred to me I could. I used to think you had to have a large amount of hardware, synthesizers, and equipment for it. It costs, a lot of money, but FL Studio only costs me $200 for the basic package, and it's very easy to get started. So, I've had some music. I was in a band in high school for 7 years, so I know music theory to an extent, but definitely not composition for electronic music. So that's when I got started.
It's really cool when you see someone who's doing it really well, and they've only been doing it a short time. So
yeah, I think the music theory helps because it kind of gives you a sense of composition-wise, like how the track should lay out. Also, it's easier to work with the key that and you don't spend a lot of time like just putting in notes and seeing if that works or not. I'm still very much learning sound design on the EDM aspect of things. I find orchestral easier to write music with just because of the sound design's already there. You just select your sound libraries. Electronic, it's more challenging, and I'm learning a lot more when I write an electronic song rather than an orchestral song.
Yeah, you seem to have a real knack for orchestral. I'll be honest, most of the tracks I was listening to you from the beginning were all orchestral, and then I started listening to some of the others, and I found out you got a much wider range than I initially I gave you credit for. But you've got such a knack for orchestral. One of my favorite tracks, orchestral, was a No Strings Attached, an Octavia theme. Can you go over how it was creating some of those initial tracks?
For No Strings Attached, that was the first time I ever worked with Contact, which is a very popular sound library player. I used its default libraries, but it was amazing compared to what I was using before, which was like sound font libraries, which they're a little more limited because they don't handle note velocity quite as well. They basically just raise and lower the volumes, while Contact sound libraries will give you more expressive sound. Louder means they'll be actually switch out different louder samples, so it sounds a lot better. No Strings Attached was a Toast entry.
Oh, wow. Oh.
And that's the one, actually won that one with that song. That song was actually also fairly easy to compose because I based it pretty much around a lot of the Final Fantasy music that I really like to listen to occasionally. So that was the main inspiration there. That's
cool. What was the theme of the week that week? What do you remember?
If you could pick a pony to have a battle theme, what pony would what would the theme sound like?
Okay.
Something like Octavia, of course.
Yeah. I would really recommend to anyone who's listening, if they haven't gone through the archives of the Toastbeard, all the initial Toastbeards, you really see some amazing tracks that all came out from Toastbeard. And, you know, a lot of the who's who, all the people that we know that have really carried this community, a lot of these wonderful tracks all came from Toastbeard. And so if you go through those archives, it's really kind of a treasure trove. I know I've gone through a couple of the tracks from Tarby, which he hasn't even put on his YouTube, and there's, you know, there's some fantastic instrumentals on there. But, you know, if you didn't dig for them, you wouldn't necessarily find them. So, you know, that it's, you know, there's some really great music to really go out there and take a look through. And Sai keeps those still available, and you can still listen to all those embeds out there. So,
yeah, he really helped, you know, get us inspiration and reasons to try new songs and new things. So you should get a lot more credit than I think he.
Between the Remix Wars and Toastbeard, I mean, those have been sort of the two things that have really sort of united the community in terms of how we make music, how we sort of get the inspiration from, and then, you know, how we put that out as a community. You know, Toastbeard is, you know, a weekly event. It's a united theme from that week. In terms of turnaround, how quickly can you put out music? Did you put that track completely together from start to finish within a week, or had you started something and it just happened to coincide?
Yeah, I did that day basically, or that's probably a couple of days for that song, and then probably a little more extra mixing during the week at that time to listen to it.
Okay, wow, okay.
So that, I mean, yeah, that all just came together.
I'll be honest, the toughest thing with Toastbeard is getting a finished track by the end of the week. It's not easy to be that quick. Do you generally take, how long do your tracks normally take?
If it's an orchestral, probably a week. If it's electronic, probably 2 to 4, maybe. It's a lot harder because the mixing's more of a challenge, and it's a little harder to learn. But my vocal song probably took a month and a half before I was somewhat happy with it. So those are harder, because I can't sing.
So which tracks have you sung on altogether?
Just Want It, Need It.
Okay. And that's
on another one that I never released because I wasn't happy with it, but I'm working towards another idea I have.
Let's go over Want It, Need It. I'll be honest, the first time I heard that track was when Mew was covering that, and I sort of knew it by the cover, and then I went back and I'm like, oh my God, that's Jeff's song. Just, you know, and then I saw how many people did covers and remixes of it, and I was kind of amazed. It's had quite a bit of different covers and remixes for a while.
Yeah, the inspiration for that song obviously came from the Lesson 0 on season 2, where Twilight Sparkle goes a little crazy. And I mean, it doesn't take a lot to know that spell has some pretty sinister applications, so that was a lot of fun writing lyrics for. First draft was actually fairly crispy, because I was singing it as almost like a love song to her, like I was a singer's under the effect, but it's very hard to sing about a pony like that. Like, okay, let's just kind of adjust it a little bit, so the lyrics are almost completely different than the original. I think it's for the better. I really do like writing lyrics, even if I can't sing them very well.
I feel for you. I know how that is. You've done quite a lot of tracks about Celestia as well. You've done A Tale of Two Sisters. You've done Celestial Origins.
Well, wait till you hear my next remix. Yeah, that's the note of Vicious Lies, which is a Celestia song too. I don't know, I guess I'm just upset. Tale of Two Sisters, that one was originally about, the theme for that week was an end to Equestria.
Okay.
I thought, well, if there's a war between the two sisters, that would be an end. So that's what inspired that song. Then Celestial Origins, that actually is not specifically about Celestia, it's more about the sisters creating Equestria, or the world.
The world, yeah.
Yeah, and the theme was the beginning of Equestria, so I kind of also tried to tie those two songs together by including the main theme, certain melodies from the main theme in both of them.
And I know I've talked to you before about this. Macon's done his own version of Celestial Origins, but it's not the same song, correct? It just has the same name, correct?
Yeah, that was for the Remix War, third one or the fourth one. He was going to remix my song, but he's going to remix that song, but he couldn't figure out what. Keybase kept crashing for him, so he just wrote a new song completely from scratch that was inspired from it. So. Oh,
okay. So there's a little bit of a shared history. You've done a lot of work through the Remix Wars with Macon, right?
Yeah, I've remixed one of the songs for the Remix War, and he's remixed one of mine. So yeah, there aren't a large number of as from the beginning, there wasn't a large amount of orchestral musicians, so we often drew inspiration from each other, heavily inspired by Macon's work. So
I know you guys are friends, but I don't want to put words in your mouth. So have you guys kind of bounced tracks off each other and sort of listened to each other's work in the whip stages? Or?
Many times I've done orchestral music. I've sent it off to him to see what he thinks of it, and he showed me a couple too. So
okay. Oh, good. So, is there any other musicians that you have them take a look at your whips and show them rough drafts of your tracks and get input or?
Yeah, also Lavender Harmony.
Okay.
Works in progress. Outside of her and Macon, I don't think I have any other standards I go to. Okay. I'll just see usually who's online and message them.
Obviously, you named a couple of the moderators now on My Little Remix, and you're a moderator on My Little Remix now too. When did that start up?
Yeah, Macon was kind of talking about making me a moderator for a little while, and then he always keeps forgetting. So when I met him at Everfree, I was like, "Hey, when are you gonna do it?" He's like, "I'll do it right now." So that's when he made me a mod.
How much work does that entail? Is that a pretty big part-time job?
I browse My Little Remix a little more than I used to, I guess. For this last Remix War, organizing the sync party, that took a little bit of work. Getting all the files together and, finding people to help tag them and properly mark them and get it torn up. And that one was a little more work, but outside of the Remix War, it's usually just browse the forum, moderate them.
You were talking briefly about going to Everfree Northwest. I'd like to hear a little bit about how that went. What's your take on how it went?
I definitely could have gone better in terms of the hotel. They didn't have it. The revenue itself wasn't very well organized. Like, they didn't get it set up very quickly. Outside of that, the performances, I think, were solid. Foos and Voodoo Pony were there. Eurobeat and some of the other bigger names also. Alex S. and Pinkie Pie Swear was actually there as well. It was the first time I ever met him.
Oh, cool.
First, his set was cut because they were kicking us out of the hotel. So we heard maybe 10 minutes of his set, which is kind of a shame, but it was a really nice sounding 10 minutes. I performed with Brony Mike and his set, which was, I get bragging rights, and I was the very first note, the very first performance, the very first Everfree ever. So I performed with Brony Mike. He opened the first night, and I played basically just support. I played the trumpet because I can't really play anything else. Live performance, but I guess that was pretty good. We just had it was just a silly opening set, and so it was a lot of fun playing with him.
Oh, that's
He's a really cool guy.
Oh, cool. Now, did you get to do the BronyCon in New York any of the previous times, or was this your first con?
Yeah, I flew to New York in June. BronyCon, I really liked the performance here. That obviously it was only a one-night deal instead of 3 nights at Everfree, but it was a very large performance. They had obviously a lot of big names there too. Tombstone was the biggest one I think that comes to mind. Him and Alex S. And they had a awesome performance because the cast members were on stage as well. Like Tara Strong was up there. So it was really an energetic performance. That one was a lot of fun.
And that seems like that's a really well-organized convention, and it's a lot, I think it's obviously set up with a bigger scope in mind than obviously the others can even compete with at this point.
Yeah, Everfree was definitely a lot smaller. The venue space is smaller. I think there are less people, but not the only game in town. There's conventions all over as well.
There's a lot of them springing up. None of them are going to be quite, like the New York BronyCon, but it's just nice that people aren't going to have to travel as far to be able to go to a convention to see, some of the local talent or semi-local talent. You still had a nice little drive up there, so.
I guess I spent it with my con.
So, hanging out with the Brony musicians, I guess, during those conventions is probably the highlight.
Yeah, definitely. The BronyCon, the after party was definitely the most memorable. Just everybody hanging out in a gazebo in a hotel parking lot, basically. But, there were guitars, and one of the Celestia Radio was there, and I can't remember who, but one of their contributing members had like a speaker system on his back, basically, so he's playing all the songs on that, and everyone's just chilling. So
nice.
It was really cool, I thought. I never once again, I met a lot of the musicians, so yeah, I definitely. That's pretty much the only reason why I go to the conventions is to hang out with a lot of them.
Just seeing some of the video footage of all the Brony musicians hanging out together, what a quality experience it is. Just being able to hang out as a community together.
Yeah, definitely. Anybody can't make it. If any of the musicians can't make it like this year, try and save it for next year, because, yeah, it's still going strong, I think. So
now let's go over a little bit some of your musical influences, I guess, outside the community first.
Yeah, because I had, two different genres I bounce between. There's kind of two camps. In terms of orchestral, I base it primarily on video game composers. Jeremy Soule, who does soundtracks for the Elder Scrolls series and the Guild Wars series. Russell Shaw, he does the Fable series.
Okay.
And then Matt Uelman, he works with the Diablo series, and he's worked with other Blizzard titles in the past. I listen to them quite a bit. In terms of the EDM world, I would say my biggest influence would be Deadmau5. Obviously, he's kind of that superstar, but I do like a lot of his music. Strobe, especially, is my favorite electronic song. I also like Zed, Gemini, and some of the UK dust artists, Nero and Scream, Pavilion. I like those guys as well.
Which Brony musicians do you try to catch regularly and look out for their tracks?
In terms of the ones that known the longest and the ones that I suppose you could say most popular would probably be McCon, Alex S, and Pete, I swear. And I guess, yeah, Wood and Toast as well. Beyond Her Garden is probably one of my favorite songs.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Some of the new musicians, I'm definitely keeping an eye out for Lavender Harmony.
Okay.
She does great drum and bass. As well as Arc. I would say Ascension is my favorite balloon party track, with the possible exception of Disco Light or Dregs, but I really like Ascension.
Now,
and I like your stuff too.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I do. Like you said, you bounce back and forth between the orchestral and the EDM. Is there any particular EDM style that you have an affinity for?
House, electro house, progressive house. I wouldn't say traditional dubstep, probably close to pro step, but I do like that. I do like some Skrillex's stuff, his Scary Monsters and Nice Sprites EP.
I hear he's very popular with the kids.
I saw him in concert
oh,
2 weeks back.
You did see him at Red Rocks?
Yeah.
Oh, was it good?
That was an intense performance. I wasn't sure a lot of performance by Skrillex. I've seen, it's just basically behind turntables and or his laptop, and so he didn't seem like it'd be that great of a live performance. But I guess for this tour, they really bumped it up. They built a huge set for him. There's like a big spaceship, and they have it on some. They basically raise it up during his performance, and they have smoke, and lasers, and lights, and fireworks shooting in the sky.
Oh, wow. And
they have a big screen behind him that plays clips from his music videos. And then, like, during the finale, they do all of those things, and then they have fire, and then you have, like, confetti cannons shooting everywhere.
Oh, my goodness.
Loudest music that you can feel on the ground. It is a sensory overload, to be sure.
You get some people with guitars and they say, well, all you're doing is pressing a button, but they're doing a lot more than that, and they're also giving you a lot more visuals and sound than you'd probably be accustomed to.
Yeah, and it's one of the struggles that I think, that a EDM producer has. Like, if you want to go, as a producer, if you want to do a performance, you got to figure out how to make that work. I mean, during that performance, it wasn't just Skrillex. The M Machine was there. They had a light show. They had a big amp that they light up, and they have that programmed to their tracks. That was really well done. But then there were a couple others. I don't remember their names, but they basically just DJ'd their own tracks. And yeah, I mean, it's kind of lacking when that's all there is. But you can make it work, and you can also, bring a keyboard with you to a show, or come up with new creative ways to actually give a performance to the crowd.
Let's talk about some recent stuff you've done. Because for a while there, you took I guess you were just a little bit busy, took a little bit of a break, came back, did Born a Paris Sprite, and then did you put out the track Dispersion for Bronies for Good, and then you also are working on some video game music, kind of behind the scenes, correct?
Yeah, that one track, it's basically a town theme for the video game called Welcome to Ponyville. It's a visual graphic style adventure where you basically interact with the inhabitants of Ponyville and solve a mystery. It's actually coming out on the 15th, so.
Oh, good. So this.
I don't know when you're gonna release this interview, but
okay, go ahead.
It'll be out on the 15th, and the first act, it's broken up into acts, and that first bit will be the first act will be the 15th, and they're planning about a month or so between acts. So,
okay.
The nice part about that game is it's not programmatically intensive nor resource intensive. It's not 3D or anything like that. It's basically, there's not any animation really to speak of. So it's basically a simple game, but it means that it actually has a hope of being released and completed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've done some of the songs. Walrus, someone by the name of Walrus has done some of the songs, as well as Serial, several of the worlds.
Yeah.
We collabed together for the trailer that was released a few weeks back.
Oh, cool.
And X-Trav is doing the sound editing and engineering there too, so there's several musicians involved in that project.
Is your portion of the music done at this point?
I'm still slated for some more music. Still have to come up with a Celestia theme. Yeah, I'm actually for Celestia. But
Jeff, will you make a Celestia track for us?
You can't just use one, and many of them already have. No, I've seen it. But yeah, and I still have a couple more songs to put out on my YouTube channel, but I just haven't gotten around to making videos for them. But yeah, there's some more songs I've done that I don't think people have seen quite yet.
Tell us a little about Dispersion for Bronies for Good.
That track was, I basically gave it 2 chord progressions. The I think I wanted to try to do is one that fairly happy in half the song, like a happy chord progression, and then the second half was not quite maybe as happy, but it actually flipped that. The beginning was a little more not a happy progression, and the later one kind of resolves it. So I also wanted to mix electronic and orchestral again. So yeah, and that was for the Brony for Good charity album. That was for the second one. They they've been doing those every few months, and it's a good cause. And once again, it's a chance to get your music out there. And
it's for a good cause, but it also gets you know, a lot of people in the community working together and bouncing tracks off each other, and then you're doing the soundtrack stuff. What else you got in the works?
I have that remix I'm finishing up. I think I'm debating a video before it, so it still might be a week or so before that gets released.
Okay.
Yeah, I have tons of ideas. I just haven't had the chance to work on them yet. So I'm kind of wanting to switch my primary focus to electro house, or at least some form of house.
Okay.
At least for a while, and then split my time between Welcome to Ponyville tracks as orchestral, and then electronic songs as just individual releases. I do want to stick to electronic. That's the style I'm going to stick to. It's taken me a long time to make up my mind, though. But it's electro house was kind of got me back into, or got me making music in the first place, and I think I want that to be my primary fact. So
you're making the switch. I know you've been debating that for a while, and then sort of bouncing back and forth, and then trying to figure out if that was the direction you're going. But it's sort of nice to solidify, you know, where you're going to spend a lot of time focusing. You said that doing the EDM stuff takes a little bit longer. Do you feel that time is shortening, and that you're getting a real knack for it at this point?
No. It's still taking me, I mean, I had probably 2 weeks or so to work on this remix for, and I didn't get this track finished in time, and now it's a week and a half later. I mean, I feel like I'm at that stage where I definitely don't have a specific, you know, I still have to look at composition and so forth. So even though it's not getting shorter, I do feel like I'm getting better. So once I get to a point where I'm comfortable mixing, I kind of know certain rules, standards with mixing, and then once I know certain standards of song composition, then I think it'll get quicker to start getting songs out.
Well, is there anything you'd like to tell us about yourself that we probably don't know, or that you'd like to share? Or obviously you can share what you want.
I'm starting out that's just straight. Tune to my YouTube channel, see what I've got, and hopefully stick around.
In terms of the community, where you see the community at this point, where you've seen it before and where you see it going to, I guess what's your thoughts on sort of the general direction and where we're at now, and how, where would you like to see it go, or where do you think we're lacking?
Community, I think it's spreading in terms of, you know, at the very beginning it was kind of this group of people who were willing to take a look into something that not a lot of people knew about, and seemed, you know, kind of risky to openly talk about because stigma. But it's grown, and it's a lot more people, and it means a lot more content wise. So it's a lot of there's a lot more filtering that has to be done now if you're a fan, like especially in terms of music. You know, before there were like 15 entries in that first remix war, and now there was like 175-ish or something.
Yeah.
Last one. So it's a lot harder, I would say, to get noticed at this point. And, you know, I was lucky in the sense that I was in there from fairly close to the beginning.
Yeah.
But it also, you know, there's a lot of more inspiration to draw from. There's more content out there, not just as the seasons progress, but as, you know, fans of the show keep making more art and more music. So it's still going strong. I don't think the community's going to be ending it anytime soon.
I think we're all chomping at the bit, waiting for season 3 to a certain degree. We're just like, please give us some new episodes so that we can, you know, build music around it. You know.
Yep, definitely. I can't wait.
Well, Jeff, I really appreciate you joining us tonight and then talking for a while.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to wrap that up. Again, this is a Brony Musician Directory doing an interview with Stars in Autumn. It's generally the preferred name at this point. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, and we're going to try to continue to do these. Thanks again to Jeff, and we hope you enjoyed this interview.